Hi friend, I just wanted to take a minute to invite you to our Lash Biz Babes Experience 2026. This is a one-day all online event happening on May 2nd, and our theme for the year is going all in. We are shaking things up and doing it differently than anyone ever has before. This is going to be an all online event as usual, but it's going to be 100% a curated journey throughout your day as we guide you through the mindset, strategy, and passion needed to go all in on your business to make it your best year in business yet. All lash artists, estheticians, and beauty professionals are invited to join us. There will be guided sessions, interactive workshops, a panel discussion, and big giveaways happening throughout that whole day. And tickets are on sale now for only $199. Payment plans are available. Let's go all in on our businesses for 2026 together. All the details and the link for tickets are down in the show notes below. I would love to have you join us online in May. Welcome to Lash Biz Babes, the podcast for solo beauty business owners who want to build a full clientele and create a business and life that they truly love. My name is Erica. I'm your host. I'm a lash artist turned beauty business coach and lash educator, and I'm super excited as always for this week's episode because it's a guest episode and we have not had a guest on Lash Biz Babes in quite a while. I had my baby at the end of January and kind of just took a little leave from guest episodes, but I'm so excited to be getting back into them. I've got quite a few lined up for you guys over the next several weeks, and our first guest this week is Chris Bible, and you guys, she is incredible. You are going to love listening to her. So Chris Bible, yep, Bible like the book, she is a free-spirited entrepreneur who makes things beautiful for a living. She says, honestly, it feels like I've escaped the matrix. She helps women gain confidence and financial freedom by enhancing natural beauty. Think Martha Stewart meets Beyonce. She's mentored over 400 women on how to build a beauty empire from scratch. After launching SheLuvsLashes in 2015, it blossomed into a beauty bar, product line, and training academy. And she says that being able to create multiple streams of income allows me to be excited when I wake up every day. So the goal of SheLuvsLashes is to help women escape the matrix and unapologetically create their own path to success through the beauty industry. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So welcome to Lash Biz Babes. I'm super excited to have you with us today. I would love for you to first just introduce yourself and tell us what you do in the industry.
Well, thank you, Erica, for having me on here. I know we've been talking for a while now. My name is Chris Bible like the good book. I'm a free-spirited serial entrepreneur. I work in the beauty industry. I have a beauty bar and lash brand called SheLuvsLashes. Our lash bar and our retail store is in Los Angeles. So we offer, different, obviously lashing is our bread and butter. We do lash extensions, but we offer different services like brows and facials. And then we have our product line, which does amazing. And we offer training as well. So we have a training academy.
I love that. That's amazing. Like your own full-on empire there.
I like to call it that.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. So how did you get started as a lash artist or in the industry?
I got started with lashing in 2015. It's been a while now. But I got started by, I feel like that year, 2014, 15 was this year of transition for me where I was getting this calling. I was working in human resources and training and development. And I felt like I had this itch of creativity just to do something that was different, something that was allowed me to create from my mind and my heart. And I tried a lot of things before getting into lashing. And I was doing freelance writing for magazines. I did fashion blogging, and I was always getting my lashes done. And I really just started honing in and how I love the environment my lash artist created. I love the flexibility in her schedule. I knew she made great money. I knew she loved what she did. And it was something that was also creative and different. And just with some push from her, I got trained and certified and then just became obsessed with it.
I love that so much. And I bet that creative background really has helped you as you've grown your business. What's that been like?
Honing into being creative and just trying different things really gives you the space and opportunity to move behind or beyond your fear. I think that's one of the biggest things that creativity has done, and just trying different things and knowing that the failure and success and all of that is just part of the process. And you'll be surprised too, like when you're starting a lash business, how much you can pull from, especially if you worked in the corporate world, like corporate America. I pulled a lot from there too. It's just as far as understanding marketing and like operations and how to organize that and leadership. So I was able to pull from both.
I love that. And I 100% agree. I did a lot of like admin kind of work before in like corporate type job settings. And I feel like that all so beneficial when it came to starting your own business, because it's like the organization is there, like the technical skills, like the computer skills and things like that to run the back end of the business. And that was really helpful for me. So what was the inspiration behind the empire that you've built today? Like I mean, you've got products, salon, trainings, like you're doing it all.
Mm-hmm. You know, it all kind of came gradually. So obviously just like from lashing, I really just honed in and focused on lashing and perfecting my craft. And then by doing that, I started having people reach out through DMs and stuff about training. And at that time, I was flattered by it, but I was just like refer them to where I went to get training. And then I started like picking up, like, you know what, like this could be like an opportunity for me. I just feel like when you just always want to have your ears to the universe. And I'm like, if people keep reaching out, I'm fully capable of it. I have a background that actually is in training and development. And so I started creating curriculum for that. And then with the products, that also came gradually, because at that time, like 2016, I was using products that were very expensive from very reputable brands to cheap products from Amazon. And to be honest, like both of them like underperformed. And I was like investing so much money, and for it not to be working, I started, you know, feeling okay, it was a void. And I feel like whenever there's a void, there's an opportunity there. And so I just started reaching out to different manufacturers and suppliers and formulate my own brand. And I know that it's something that I can trust, and I know it's something that can make lashing easier. And that was my whole goal.
I love that. And that is so true. Like, I love where you said, like, where there's a void, like, there's opportunity there. I think that that is such a gem, because all of us in our entrepreneur journeys run into those voids, or like those little nudges from the universe too. Like you were saying, like, this could be an opportunity for me with training. So I love that you said that too and brought that up, because I think that was so true. That was kind of similar to my experience too with getting into more full-time training and such, as like just people reaching out and like asking about it. And like I feel like that's a big sign that like you could potentially be ready to move, you know, past the service share a bit more there.
Yeah. And even like your coaching, right? Because I mean, that's relatively new in the industry, but you know that a lot of people struggle with certain aspects, even just with client relations and things like that, or the back end of your business. So you're able to kind of create an opportunity to create a community and help people. And you did it all from just realizing that it wasn't a lot of people out there doing it.
Yeah, 100%. Well, and like just being born from like struggles that we've gone through too, like in our journeys, like that's really a big part of how I got started with helping people build their clienteles, because like I hella sucked at that to begin with. Like I was not good at that, and it took a lot of years of trial and error, and like really researching and taking a continued education and like investing in marketing skills and classes, and like honing in on that, and then being like, okay, when I figure this out, like I want to help other people with that. And that's, I mean, that's really how like where this was born from, even like the podcast to begin with. So I think that that's definitely valuable for our listeners too. So what advice would you give to a solo artist who has big aspirations to do things like owning a salon or a product line or training courses one day?
That's a good question. I think with lashing, or just in the beauty industry in general, you're able to create multiple streams of income. But I feel like with lashing, you definitely want to take your time and master that craft. I think that that's where a turn in the industry kind of been, where people are so motivated by money than really understanding like the craft and giving quality lash extensions, knowing how to customize your lash extensions, knowing how to improve lash retention and what you're doing, and keeping up with the different styles. Like you said, continuous education. So for me, I definitely make sure that I perfected my craft first, and then you can grow like a training academy, right? And so training is more than just teaching somebody a skill. You really have to understand how to organized curriculum, what curriculum you want to put in there. Like I definitely evaluated what I felt was great and what I got from my training, but I also evaluated what was missing. I created a survey for different lash Facebook groups and got their feedback from their trainings and reached out to my colleagues. And so from all that, I was able to create something that was very solid and that was very unique in my training academy, because we also teach like the business and marketing side. And like you said, you struggled with that. And a lot of lash trainings don't do that. So once you perfect your craft, then you can start, digesting the content and putting together training. And then from there, if you want to do products, you really have to spend time and kind of understand, why do you want to do these things? Why do you want to offer this? So that you can create your own lane instead of kind of being in so much traffic. Because I feel like there's so many people doing the same thing, and that's why it's so congested and it's hard to stand out. But once you know who you are, once you master certain crafts, and once you know why you want to do something, then you can use that to create a foundation.
I really love that. And, just what you're saying with like perfecting your craft and starting with that, I think that is so important. And something that a lot of people are skipping over. They get so excited about all the potential and the, different streams of income that you can have, that they're kind of like skipping over that basic or that first step of just like really mastering what you're doing. And personally, I feel like that's where a lot of imposter syndrome can kind of start to creep up and pop up, because if you rush through that first step and start jumping into training and doing all these things, like, and you don't have the experience to back it up, then that can lead to like I feel like everyone kind of has imposter syndrome sometimes, but like high levels of it for sure.
Absolutely.
And I think that is great advice that you gave for sure. So a little bit of a shift here. We talk a lot about motherhood and business on the podcast, and I think that that's just a topic that is not talked about often enough, which is so crazy because we're an industry full of mothers. I mean, there's a lot of us anyway. So we have a lot of moms who do listen to the show. So as a mom in business yourself, do you have any insight for any of the moms out there with their business and motherhood?
Oh, that's one of the things that fuels me the most, because like I've been married now for a long time, but I've been also like a single mom. So I know what it feels like to be a single mom, doing things on your own and living paycheck to paycheck. I would say one thing for sure is mom guilt is a real thing. Well, I should say mom guilt is something that is real to us, but we create it in our head. And there's nothing wrong with like, I feel like you're never going to have 100% of balance in your life. Even sometimes if things flow, there's going to be times where you're going to have to put more of your attention on this. You're going to have something else is going to take a hit. And so for your business, when you're starting out with lashing, it's such a critical skill that you really have to stay consistent at. Otherwise, you're going to lose that skill. You're going to lack your confidence. There's so many people who I know that come to trainings like twice, right? Because they just didn't stay consistent for whatever reason. So I would say, don't feel guilty about taking some time for yourself to stay consistent. Know that when you're building a brand and a business, there may be some things you're going to sacrifice, which is going to be time. It's going to be money. It's going to be sleep. It might be everyone's family dynamics are different, but maybe, you can't go to your kids' practice that day, or somebody's going to need them to pick them up or do things like that, so that you can hone in on your business as you're building, because being an entrepreneur is a lot more hours than working a 9 to 5, and it's sometimes glamorized, but you're going to have to make some sacrifices. And sometimes that means time away from your kids or certain activities or your loved ones. And that's just part of the process.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And it's like an ebb and a flow, sometimes you're more focused on your family than and you have that opportunity. And then there's other times where it's like just really, more focused on your business too. And yeah, I would 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
And so, because you have 4 kids, if I remember correctly.
I have 4 kids. They're all older now, but when I started, they were younger. My kids now, gosh, they are 15, 17, 20, and 24. And the cool thing is that my oldest daughter, like I taught her how to do lashes right out of high school. And she's very successful. She was able to move out on her own, not only because like she wanted to, but because she could financially afford it. So lashing is definitely a lucrative opportunity, but just doing lashes, you can open up doors to build an empire for your family as well.
100%. And also, can I just say, like, I would have never guessed that you have a 24-year-old. Like, you look amazing. Like,
Oh,
you said that, and I'm like, my brain is like mind blown. So
thank you.
you're incredible. And also I feel like I love that you said that, like it does open those doors of opportunity. And I think that, I mean, at least for me, like when things get hard, like that's what I try and focus on and like stay hyper focused on is like those possibilities, like those end results that can come from the sacrifice that like the short term sacrifices for the long term gain. Because otherwise, if you get too caught up and
Yeah.
I feel like it can be really difficult sometimes as a mom for sure.
Yeah, and even like how you were saying earlier when we're talking about like, you just had a baby, 7 months old, and you're
Hmm.
being able to transition from leaving behind the chair to create a whole nother opportunity. And the truth is that your kids are going to be able to witness that as you grow that, and they're going to be able to
Yeah.
benefit from it in so many different ways. And you just have more flexibility now to spend time with your baby. You can take this time to say, hey, I'm gonna take a break from here. I can do my motherhood, and you still have your brand there for you when you get back.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's one of the things I so love about our industry too, is that there's just so many opportunities that,
Mm-hmm.
once you do master that craft and you do gain that experience, like world of opportunity out there for you, and you can really well, and even with offering just services in themselves, like it is still flexible. You can still build that around your kids and things, like not that it won't still take some sacrifice and ebb and flow and things like we were talking about, but
Mm-hmm.
that was like the beauty of it, because I was like the lash artist who was like taking 2 clients, going home, breastfeeding my baby, and
Oh
coming
my
back and taking
gosh.
more clients. Like
Yeah.
I literally created my schedule around my kids, and I freaking loved it because I never knew what I wanted to do growing up, because I knew I wanted to be a mom, and I knew I
Yeah.
wanted to have a flexible job. And so when I like stumbled into lashing and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yep, this is it. Like this is
Yeah.
what I want to do. So yeah, I love that part of it for sure.
I don't think like our industry gets like the credit it deserves. I feel like sometimes people don't see it as a career or really like a business more than just like a skill or a hustle, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like a side thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny. I remember one of the trainings I took back in 2020, one of the other girls was talking about how she had like traveled to the training and had like given the front desk girl at the hotel like her business card with her business name on it. And the girl, like the front desk girl, was looking at it like, oh, like lash, lash business or whatever.
Yeah.
And like basically treating her like, oh, your cute little lash business, like your little, and she's like, I'm literally like this is a card with my business name on it, like
Yeah.
full on legit thriving, like her business incredible. And it's just so crazy how it does get like I don't know, people just don't even realize the power behind it sometimes for
Mm-hmm.
sure. And
Yeah.
especially as moms too, like some of the comments we get sometimes is a little insane.
Or the relationships we get to build. Like we really do turn into low-key therapists. You know what I mean? When
Oh,
you're with your client.
yes. Yes, honestly, that's one of my favorite things about our industry is like just being able to create those relationships
Yep.
with clients. And like at least I know in my experience my clients were always asking me about my kids, always so supportive on
Yeah.
things like that. And that just I don't think there's anything like it in the world, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
really one of a kind.
Yeah, I feel the same way too about just lashing and even just training to be a part of someone's like journey, growth, or blessings, to help them on their journey. I take a lot of
Yes.
pride in that to really set them up with a good foundation so that they can like to ensure success. Because I feel like a lot of people in the beginning, when they get training, it's easy for them to give up because they didn't realize how difficult it was going to be or how much patience and time they have to designate to it. But once they do, I love to be a part of that journey for them and see them just blossom.
Yes, I totally agree with that. And just being part of that transformation is really incredible. And
Mhm.
I mean, it like changes people's lives too,
It does.
like 100% in the best ways possible. So it's really
Mhm.
amazing. Um, so a little shifting gears a little bit more here, let's talk a bit about like the marketing side of things, because like you were saying, you do incorporate those pieces into your trainings, which I absolutely love. I think that is such a necessary part, especially with like the more beginner trainings too, because especially
Yeah.
if they want to go solo, if they want to be independent, that is
Mhm.
absolutely a necessity for being able to be successful with that. So I love that you include that. And
Mhm.
I hope moving forward that a lot of other, trainings start to include that more as well.
Mhm.
Um, but this is something that a lot of solo owners do struggle with. So what would you suggest for them to be able to elevate their online presence and stand out in their area? Because like you were saying, it does get like pretty congested sometimes. And is there anything in your experience that just really helps people to stand out?
Um, it may sound like cliche, but I feel like to stand out is really to know who you are, right? And so um, we can get caught up in thinking that like standing out is maybe like graphics or branding as far as like your color or your font style, but standing out is really because in this day and time, they fall in love with you and you're your brand and you're representing that. And so knowing like who you are, why you do it, and like who you do it for will help you be able to create a strategy. So say for instance, like my business or like my lash training, I'm able to really target the people who are thinking of it more as a business and somebody who wants to start like an empire, right? It's because I do teach, it's a high level overview, but teaching the business. And so I focus whenever I promote my training that I'm including that I do offer 30-day mentorship with my trainings, which a lot of trainers don't do, right? And so there's nothing wrong with that, but that's just, I know who I am and I do it for people to be successful. I want people who purchase and invest their hard-earned money in my classes to feel like they got their money's worth. And so I really focus on like those different variables, right? And so you may look at like what makes your training different, or when it comes to lashing, to stand out. I celebrate the fact that I can customize different lash sets. If you look at our lash page or anything like that, you'll see people with natural lashes, with classic, with hybrid, with different shapes and styles and curls. Um, so that's like my lane, right? And so some people might just like right now there's this trend of these huge long, to me they look crazy, but crazy long lashes, but that's their lane, that's their clientele, and there's a market for that. And so just kind of really spending some time and asking yourself certain questions about like, who am I? Some people want to be very professional on their page, some people are super humorous, right? And so just making sure that you understand like who you are and have that reflect. And even for me, like I'm big about like my products. So I'll do content that breaks down the difference between like a lash bonder versus primer, what the differences is, or maybe you're talking about how to improve retention with applications. So I focus on really like education, quality, and like I said, showing the difference between our products and our training. So I think for people to really stand out is to know who they are, why they're doing what they're doing, and that will help to create like the outline for their strategy.
Yes, I absolutely love that. And I think that that's such a great thing to focus on in marketing too, because I think sometimes, especially in the beginning, a lot of lash artists and beauty professionals focus a lot on their pricing and, oh, I have lower prices, or oh, I'm running this deal, and they're like, I'm offering promotions, why am I not getting
Yeah.
clients? And it's like that, I think that that is such a profound shift that they can make,
Mm-hmm.
to start focusing more on, who am I as a business? What do I want to be known for?
Yep.
And, those really core parts of their brand that's not just the logo or not
Yeah.
just the colors. Like that's such a big, important distinction to make, is like, there's other parts and pieces of your brand, that you can be focusing on. So
Mm-hmm.
I love that advice that you gave, and you do such a great job with it too on your social media. I love
Oh,
following and seeing all of your content.
thank
Um,
you.
so one of the things that you do teach about is creating valuable if I could talk, valuable versus mimic content that generates business relevance and revenue. So I believe that this is a concept that is so valuable in the online space, because it is getting more congested and crowded. So can
Mm-hmm.
you dive into this a little bit more for us and tell us a bit more about this?
Sure. It's social media is an interesting place, and it's they call the algorithms and stuff like that, they're changing. They're coming up with different features and things like that, and so you do have to stay on top of the different features that are coming out and things like that, and you want to be relevant with that. But when I mean like mimic versus like your own authentic content is like um, it's so popular right now. Like I could just go on Instagram and create a whole bunch of reels that are like these memes. You know, everyone's doing like where they have like the voiceover and they're creating like a funny skit or something like it will definitely boost your likes and you'll get some engagement. But that engagement doesn't necessarily mean that those are actually lash clients. That engagement doesn't necessarily mean that those are going to be lash artists that are going to want to, purchase your product and things like that. So do those, and I do them every so often. If I find something I think is really funny or think of some unique idea, I'll definitely do that because I am super goofy. So I want to include that in my brand's personality. But I would rather spend my time creating things that are very unique and catered to like what I offer and then how I can make things easier. Like my slogan is lashing just got easier. So what does that mean? I mean that for my products are superior quality, that it's definitely going to help make you lash faster. It's going to certain products that I have, like our retention bonder, will enhance the performance of your glue, create less lash stickies. I talk about different things of like placement, how to improve your lash speed altogether just by how you place or how you isolate. And so like that's the content that I choose to focus on. And I definitely blend it in with different things, but like that's my focus because that's my lane. And when you can, like I said, you're focusing on like a void or how your service or how your product helps take away that void for that client or that customer, because there's going to be different strategies based on what you're promoting, right? Like I can't promote lashing the same way I can promote my products, or I can't promote my products the same way I promote my training. They're all going to call for a different strategy. And making sure that you're catering to that. When you're marketing or you're trying to stand out, you're always thinking about the problem that you're solving for the customer and that you're taking them on a journey. You're somehow identifying their problem so that they can say, oh yeah, that is me. I do struggle at lashing or my lash speed. I take a long time, right? And then you're giving them a tool or tangible thing where they can improve that. And then you earn their trust. So, then they may purchase your products or they may refer your lash training class to a friend and things like that. So just really focusing on authentic content versus always mimicking what everybody else is doing, because that's just going to get caught up in the web.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you said authentic, because I was exactly what I was going to say. Like, I feel like everything you've been talking about, it just really leads back to authenticity and staying true to yourself and staying true to your brand and who you're trying to help, and just really like we all get caught in the doom scroll, and like it's so easy to get caught in comparison. It's so easy to look at what everyone else is doing or try and mimic those things. And I think that getting caught up in that can waste a lot of our valuable time and resources. So I think that's such an important thing. It's just really staying authentic to who we are and who we want to help and our brand as a whole. So, and I think everything that you've been talking about just really kind of ties in with that authenticity theme, which is amazing. Question for you, just any last thoughts or advice for any of the solo business owners who are listening? I know a lot of our listeners that I've talked to really do have like the aspirations of product lines or things one day, but right now they are focused on growing their service-based business. So if you could go back and tell yourself anything, or tell them anything, what would it be?
So I think my advice would be like just circling back to what I said about just like mastering one thing, right? So that you can have a solid foundation for that and then build, right? Because if you try to skip steps, you're going to see it crumble. You're going to have like all these challenges and hurdles anyway, but if you don't have a true passion for it, then it's not going to give you the fuel you need to keep going. So I would say, like, when you're looking at, like, say for instance, okay, you're lashing, you want to now offer training, but you don't have the patience for it. Look at, like, the universe is maybe telling you that you want this, but this is going to require a new version of yourself. So maybe you weren't that patient before, right? And so you're going to have to work on your patience and grow that skill set and really hone in on that to offer something that can be life-changing for yourself and for, your community and your customers. Or somebody else, like lashing when you're first starting off, it's hard. You feel like you suck and you're just not going to get it. But the truth is that you're also learning a skill of consistency. You have to be consistent in what you're doing. You're going to have to, then it's going to help you with your time management. You're going to have to carve out maybe an hour or two each day, or a couple hours just on one day during the week, to really hone in on that. So think of it too, as like, it's not just you growing your business, but you're growing like interpersonally yourself as well. So you may be growing on an aspect of yourself with patience. You may be a procrastinator. You're going to have to do that. Some people don't even like to make reels and put themselves on camera. You're going to have to step out of your comfort zone to do that. And each level that you want to grow into in your business is going to require a new version of yourself. So you're going to have to like get uncomfortable and shed that skin to be able to do that.
Yes, being an entrepreneur has been the biggest self-development journey I've ever gone through. And that was, I think for me, one of the most unexpected parts of it, because it really is a lot of self-growth.
Yep.
So, while we're on the topic, is there anything particular that you did to develop in that way or grow in that way with the self-development? I know I'm like throwing this at you, like putting you on the spot here. I know that wasn't in the outline, but
no, you're fine. You know what? It required me to be more social. I'm kind of like an introvert. Like I love just being with myself. I love spending time by myself. I love spending time with my children and my husband. But I had to get out of that and I had to be more social. So I would put myself and I would go to networking events by myself to meet new people. Because you want to create like what I call like the 360 circle. Where you have mentors. You want to have people that you can look up to, that you can get guidance from, that can help show you the way, that can help you shed those layers so that you can be a new version of yourself. You want to grow your circle with peers that you can look to the left and the right of you, that you can bounce ideas off of, that you may be having some challenges, right? We go through ups and downs in lashing. Like, is it slow for you right now? And kind of having that colleague advice. Then you want to have people that you can look, and I don't say this the right way, but like, down or beneath you that you can pull up, right? That you can help educate, that you can help inspire. And so I feel like that whole 360 is really important. You want to have people that you can look up to who are where you want to be. You want to have peers that are, beside you, that are going through the same thing, and that you want to have people that you can be that inspiration from and pull up as well.
I have never heard it explained that way before, and that just absolutely is incredible, and I love that so much. And I think you recommended a book to me. I don't know if you remember this, on Instagram. I'm gonna have to go look and see what one it was, but like I've got that next on my list to read, so I'm excited for that. You were like, it was life-changing. So I don't know. Do you remember what book it was?
It might have been Breaking the Habits of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. He is amazing. And it was life-changing for me because it was little tangible things that you could do, like taking a different route to work, just to get a different scenery, to get out of the same monotony that you're constantly doing. Taking time to be still, to really be self-aware, because I believe energy is real. And when you're still, because it's so much static, right? We're mothers, we're entrepreneurs, we're, wives, whatever case may be. So you have to have some time just to chill and just like meditate or read, so that you can open up space for creativity. Because sometimes it's so hard to think about the next thing that we want to do or how we want to improve something when we haven't even created space to do that or to receive that. But yeah, reading is like not only therapeutic for me, but it definitely helps me grow in every aspect of my life.
Yeah, I love that. I have a mentor that calls that like white space, like getting white space on your calendar. And just she's like, that is an essential part of being able to grow your business, just having that space to be creative and to, decompress and just really allow yourself to have the time and the energy to just dream, basically.
Yep.
And to just be and I also love how you were talking about, taking a different route to work, those little things too. I was listening to a podcast recently that was talking about that, just getting yourself in different environments, because otherwise it's the same thought patterns, it's the same feelings and things. And when you can break out of that, kind of change things up and get in a different room full of different people or network, or, putting yourself in different spaces, that can really help you to grow as a person and as a business as well. So I'm definitely going to go read that book. I've been like trying to finish up the one I'm on right now, it's on my list. So,
what are you reading right now?
So one of the ones I'm trying to remember the name of it. So it's not necessarily a business book. But the one I just finished the Last Law of Attraction book you'll ever need to read. I don't know if you've ever read that one or listened to it. And then
What's it called again?
So it's called The Last Law of Attraction
The
book you'll
last
ever
topic.
need to
Okay.
read. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm trying to remember who it's by. I don't remember his name, but it's been really good. It talks about the law of attraction, kind of like manifestation, and it's really
Yep.
tangible like techniques that you can do that are just like easy, simple, straightforward. There's like not a lot of fluff to go with it. I know people think
Mhm.
manifestation is fluff in general, but like he just like really goes down with like some really hands-on techniques that you can do to, be calling those things in and be practicing that. So I
Mhm.
just am finishing up that one, and then I was reading one that my therapist recommended for me with I'm like I don't want to like bring down the mood here, but just like breaking, through like childhood trauma and different things like that. So
Absolutely.
and
Yep.
and I like started going to therapy this year and
Oh, good.
working on my self-development that way. And that has been so good for me and just opened up like space in my mind and my heart to really just be able to grow my business more too. Like I feel
Mhm.
like those doors that were just like broken down and like are allowing me to just move forward into like who I'm meant to be. So I love that
Mhm.
we've gotten onto this topic of self-development because I think that that is so very important. And so that's another one of the books that I've been reading too. So I'm finishing up that one. I think that
Oh,
one's been a little more slow going for me because it's a little more heavy to get through. But yeah,
yeah.
I love that. Are there any books that like you're reading right now? I think a lot of entrepreneurs do usually typically have some on their radar.
Um, you know what? My mom just gave me a book yesterday, but it's more about I can't even, so she just gave it to me. But it's about just like energy and frequency. So like you said, I mean, I love
Okay.
reading like interpersonal type of or self-improvement books, I should say, self-improvement books
Yeah.
more than anything, because I feel like it can tie over into your business as well. But I love the fact that you even brought up like childhood trauma, because I mean it's freeing yourself to become another version of yourself. It's letting go of these, like sometimes even for me, it was hard for me to think of the fact that I can make a certain amount of money that I make now, because I come from such a scarcity mindset. And it came from
Yeah.
me growing up in a single mother household. My mom was a single parent. She had 5 kids and she did the best she could and did amazing. But it was always like pinch and save. It was like, we don't have this money for that, or we don't have that. And I had to grow past that to really know that not only I can achieve like multi six figures, but that I deserve that, right? Because I work very hard for
Yeah.
that. And because I think of it here, I'm the first entrepreneur in my immediate family and never seen a direct example of it. So childhood trauma is a real thing, and it impacts you in so many ways, with your children, with your business, with your significant other. So I'm glad that you brought that up too.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And, a lot of those things like, and that's something I really learned the end of last year, beginning this year is like the way we're raised and like we have a lot of subconscious that can have the potential to have subconscious limiting beliefs of things
Yeah.
like even just thinking that six figures like $100,000 is just like this absolutely insane amount of money that is just so totally unachievable by someone
Yeah.
like me. Like that's a big thing I've had to work through, and just being able to reframe those things and
Mhm.
like you said, like for your kids too, that's been, I mean, those types of things are so hard to work through, but it's such an important work to be doing, not only just for ourselves, but for our kids. I feel like it also
Mhm.
makes us more present with our clients,
Yeah.
and just all over, just the best version of ourselves so we
Mhm.
can feel good about ourselves and also show up for the people around us fully too. So yeah, it's a big important part of that entrepreneur journey for sure.
Yeah. And like it even helps you, as like you say, when you're scrolling on Instagram, it's this very thin line about being intimidated, being inspired, and then copying, right? You can be
Yeah.
intimidated by someone's success and feel like, God, like they're doing so good. Why am I not there? You can be inspired by them, which is amazing and wonderful and what we should be looking to. And then there's some that just, it can create like this imposter syndrome as well. So it's like, you have to be very careful when you're scrolling through Instagram and know that everybody
Yeah.
has a story and anybody can post what they want on there. So be careful.
Yeah. Oh, it's so true. And you just never know, like, with the different things. And like everyone's got things that they're not talking about on social media too. And they've got, like they said, they have a story too. And you just staying authentic, staying in your own lane on that as well. And I also think one thing that I've tried to do in the last year too is just when I am scrolling and I am finding myself getting pulled into comparison or like I don't even want to say like judging, because I really try not to judge people at this point in my life, but different things like that. If I find myself being like overly critical or like jealous or feeling any of those types of feelings, like really taking a moment to recognize that and self-reflect, because a lot of the times those are our own types of triggers that we're projecting, like, oh my gosh, like they're doing, they've got this amazing training academy and product line, and or they've got this amazing like coaching business and podcast, like I want that. And just if you're finding yourself being overly critical of that, and kind of reeling that in for a minute and self-reflecting and figuring out what it is within yourself that, why am I being so critical? Because that's typically that's not them. That's an us thing. That's a me thing. And that has been a very transformational shift for me in my own like thought process, and being able to like rein in those emotions as I'm scrolling through Instagram, because that is definitely a big pitfall that a lot of us have fallen into before, and even presently too. So
every day.
I love that. Yep. Awesome. So any last thoughts for us? Anything else that you wanted to share? Or
I think you're doing an amazing job, Erica. I came across your page not too long ago, and I love how authentic you are, because that was one of the reasons why I actually reached out to you, which is a tip for people too. If you are out there and you want to put yourself more out there and reach other audiences, or you feel like you have something that is worthwhile for somebody to hear, reach out to these podcasters, reach out to these publications, and know that, you're going to get a whole bunch of no's, but the yeses are exactly where you should be. I think that you're doing an amazing job. I think the fact that you're switching, and just the fact that you left behind the chair, I know how scary that is.
Oh my gosh, so scary. It's like like that was the goal, like the vision for so long, and you built it up and you have this consistent income and you have all these great clients who don't want to leave you for anything. And that's so scary to like close the door on and move forward into something new. So yeah.
But look at all the amazing things that you're doing, that you're going to do. So I just want to commend you for that and say I'm proud of you, and I'm excited to see what else you have in store.
Yeah, you too. And that's one of the things that really drew me to you and wanting to bring you on the show too, is just like how confident you are in your messaging, the incredible business that you've grown, the empire that you're working to continue to thrive and grow with. And just like when you reached out, you're like, here's the great things that I am really freaking good at, like that I have mastered, that I love talking about. And I think that is something that can help you stand apart too, just even in your service-based business. If you're trying to attract clients, like what are your points that you're really good at inside of your business, and how are you actually talking about those things? Because that's what's really going to attract the right clients to you, is being confident in that, and confident in the things, like the strong points and strengths that you have in your business. So I love that and admire that about you. So I was really excited to have you on the show tonight. Thank you so much for being here. So can you share with us where they can find you online? They can go follow you.
So it's SheLuvsLashes, so SheLuvs lashes, and that's on all platforms. Our website, SheLuvsLashes.com, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook.
Perfect. Awesome. So I'll make sure to put those links in the show notes as well, to make it really easy for you guys to go in and find her online and go follow her. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.